Hi, my name is Jos Smolders, and this is Thursday Afternoon Talks, a series of weekly discussions I have with Frans de Waard about an album, an artist, a label, a genre, or another something musical. This episode, we discuss Nighturns, an album by Un Caddie Renversé dans l'herbe, which loosely translates as a discarded shopping cart in the grass. Frans, for this week's episode, you chose an album with a strange name, Nighturns, which I can't translate, by a French name, Un Caddie Renversé dans l'herbe, which translates as a
shopping cart turned over in the garden.
In the grass, yes.
Oh, in the grass. It's a shopping cart turned over in the grass.
Exactly. Yes. Which is quite strange to assume as a name for an artist. What was your initial idea?
Yes. Well, first maybe some background about this artist. I know the name. It's been ages since I last reviewed something from, I have to look it up, Didac P. Lagariga, and he's from Brazil, I think, or Argentina, and lives in Spain. Maybe 15 years ago, he had a bunch of releases on Deck Order, the German label from Black to Com, and he became a Muslim. This is important for what we're going to hear. I have to read this from the information. In his late 20s, he converted to Islam and started a long journey into Africa's spirituality and cultures, especially West Africa. Apparently, in South African apartheid, somebody classified as white, who turned into a Muslim, was classified as colored. And in present Europe, even this sub-classification already exists. So this is not a reason that Lagariga entered Islam for this reason. He could experiment and feel in a more apparent mode the separation of the mainstream culture. Instead of having a close identity as a Muslim, he deeps and amplifies this notion of displacement, which I think is interesting for the album that he made. So in the intervening years, he made books in Spanish and Catalan language. And
Catalan, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, I mean, because he's Brazilian. If he's originally from Brazil, he would have his native language would have been
Portuguese. Yeah.
Yes.
Oddly enough, I lost the first page of the press release, so maybe he's from Argentina. So I'm not sure. But anyway, he started in 2021. He started working with music again, and that resulted in this album, which is called, as you said, a bit weird title, Nighturns or Nighturns.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. He is Brazilian, by the way. I just looked it up.
Okay, so it's odd.
Yeah, but
he lives in Barcelona. He lives in Barcelona, so you know. That's this. I was intrigued that this person showed up again, because I in the old days I would think, oh, what happened? I heard his music a couple of times. What happened in between? But I gave up thinking about this. It's explained here, but also I only have a vague recollection of what his old music was. I couldn't describe it if I had to. But it was interesting to see this name again, and I thought this CD, it has 18 tracks, and they're all quite short, and it's a fascinating thing, and it's fascinating because I don't know what it is. I can't explain what I'm hearing. Yeah, so there's this vaguely notion of something that is not Western in there. There's use of kalimba, for instance, percussion instruments. There's also in many of these pieces a sublayer of really weird electronics, which made me think of Pansonic, maybe even. Wow. And it's like this is really like this. The one track I selected for the podcast had this pretty extreme electronic music undercurrent, and there's a field recordings layer in the music, which is something. So I have no idea what the idea is here. Is it like a travelogue? I have always have these sort of ideas when I hear this kind of music, that this person travels around in West Africa, a place I have not been to. He records locations, situations, people, user instruments, and we are hearing his travel.
Yeah, to me it was like indeed what you said. Like he is fascinated by West African culture, instruments. At least I don't know the culture, but at least what I hear is West African instruments that he recorded. Some group singing.
But we don't know. We don't know if he's an active, if he's a participator in the singing, or if he's just an onlooker. We don't know.
I think I assume the latter. But in any way, my image was that he recorded all this and took it back to the studio and translated it into what it has become now, which is indeed every track is a bit of has multiple layers. But I can imagine that you indeed might have these questions like what's the big idea behind this? At least I think that's what your question is.
But also because it's not very well explained in the lengthy press text. It's also the fact that you don't know it. That's what makes it fascinating.
Yes.
You see my point?
Yeah. You can make your own. You can answer that question yourself. Actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure. And maybe that is the whole idea. You have this really strange word, Nighturns, or night, so that there is something to imagine.
Yes.
Coming back to this notion of displacement, that's also what I have in this music.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's not somewhere in my. I don't have a reference for it, if you will. It's not necessarily one thing or another. It's not field recordings per se.
No.
It's music made out of field recordings.
Yes.
With additional, like you say, loops or electronics.
Yes.
Which is for me the interesting thing about this release. It's fascinating, and it remains. And I've heard it a lot. It remains a mystery. But I don't mind. There's also sometimes you have a mystery, and you want to know. Okay, I don't get it, but and I'm sure there is something to know.
Yeah. But do you think there's something to know here now? I mean, you couldn't just listen to the music at face value and judge it at face value.
No, that's my point. That's my point, actually. That I do take it face value, and that I like it because because I don't understand it. That's my fascination. The fascination I have with this album.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I still like it.
Yes.
Sometimes the pleasure of not knowing is a good thing, and that's why I thought a lot about this album. I found it very hard to review it. This is for a reviewer like I am.
Yeah.
The more difficult sort of thing. You have to write something about. Okay, what do I hear? Who is this person?
Yes.
Do I like it? But also, you want to say something. I get this is the idea behind it all.
Right.
And the thing is, it has these short pieces.
It's
more like snapshots, like
sort of
sketches.
Right. Yeah, I think the longest track is about 4 minutes 29 seconds. But maybe we could listen to another track. At the beginning, we listened to Kalimgame, which is the first track of the album. This is track number 9, Daara.
Also, what I want to say about Kalimgame and Daara, if we look at the various track titles, we see more references to musical instruments. The Quran, the Shiva drums, there's Mibarak, and Kalimbanek. So all of these 90s radio. I thought that was.
Yes, that makes you believe that the instrument is important.
Yeah.
So he makes puts the instrument at the center of the thing, the composition that he presents.
Yeah. Oddly enough, why did he start again? That is explained. In 2021, his father lived on the streets for a while without telling anyone, and he contacted the person behind Un Caddie, and it's his only son. Yeah. And he told him that he lost everything he had, including his son's archive.
Oh wow!
Because and La Garriga was working on a podcast series in tribute to the Spanish-Colombian sociologist Jesus Martin Barbero, who died last year. And that's the sound editing reminded him of working with electronic music, and that was something he missed, and that's why he returned to this Un Caddie Renversé dans l'herbe.
Okay.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. Let me see. So there's another other form of displacement that he also had.
Yes.
With his archive being lost.
So anyway, when you look at his whole life, then he has always been going from place to place to place to place. So he's a bit of a restless person. He lives at different places on the earth, but also investigates different cultures, different religions. It's quite interesting how he meanders through all this the different lifestyles and cultural habitats.
Yes, yeah. Maybe this is truly. I don't know if people still use the word world music, but this is a sort of world music.
Exactly.
From somebody who traveled around and is not just I would think he's not just a spectator. He's recording. He's coming in. This is my recorder. I record this.
Yes.
But also a participant and what I would think actually involves playing the instruments and using those recordings to create new music.
Yes.
That's quite. I thought it was quite fascinating.
Yeah.
But as I always have a disclaimer that I always say, I don't know. I'm not sure. This is all speculation.
Speculation. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. On my part.
Let's listen to another track. Track 13, Dijourbel. And close this discussion with that track. And we hope to be back with another Thursday afternoon talk next week or the week after that. Bye.
Bye.